probably more correct anyways, isn't it? For you to be the one.
It is, and I was thinking that, and I pulled up my Skype, and now it's been upgraded, and I'm like, I don't even know where to go, so that's why I asked you. So good, it worked out, didn't it?
Awesome, yes, it did. I wasn't sure if I should respond or wait till tomorrow.
Good for you. I'm so proud of you, Melnick. I'm so glad to hear it.
You have a guitar right behind you. I just moved mine out of the way. I was in the same spot behind me, and I just moved mine.
Oh, okay. Did you? Okay. Yeah, it's one room, and I share a kitchen upstairs on the 3rd floor, a bathroom on the 2nd floor, and it's just like one unit. So this is like my whole
it's your world.
Thing.
So how are you?
I feel good. I'm always a little bit nervous. I have a lot of social anxiety, but I'm used to that. I'm a second line like you. I'm a 2 on the body side.
Right.
The hermit thing is there. I spend 99% of my time alone. I was a little concerned today. About 10 minutes ago, I pulled up the transits, and we're in a cross of consciousness, which is like all up here. Right. I can really feel it in my, So I'm like, oh God, I hope he's had a reading.
What do you mean? What do you mean had a reading?
Well, I just mean the cross of consciousness in the transits. When I'm looking at the daily transits right now, it's really mental.
Right.
And so people really get lost up there, and it just gets kind of, the frequency gets weird for me.
Well, I only know a bit about this stuff, but I'm the same as you. I'm always really nervous before interviews. Like,
okay, good.
I can't sleep the night before because I'm always thinking because I don't know if it's because I don't have a defined throat, but sometimes my mind can go blank in the middle of a conversation.
Yes.
And it freaks me out because I initiate this and I have to keep it going. So it can be kind of awkward sometimes if in the middle of something my mind just loses all the thread of things. But
that's why whenever I teach a class, I always have notes, because sometimes I'll get that manifestor thing. I'll just be like, da da da, do it, and it's like, you can't teach like that. I need backup. So I totally get that.
Yeah,
I really do. Where do you live? Okay.
Vancouver.
Okay, cool.
Have you been to Vancouver?
No.
No? Oh.
But it sure seems awesome.
It's pretty awesome. I haven't been to California. Actually, I've been to California once, and it was awesome for sure. The weather is much nicer there. That's for sure. So, I'll start first. Can I start first with just some personal stuff? I have a bit of a format, and then I'd like to go really into human design, because I just discovered human design a few weeks ago, and I immediately related to it. It was obvious to me that it has knowledge in it. I know myself well enough. I know the people around me. So when I did everyone else's charts and I did myself, I recognized everything, and it was right on. So I immediately got excited. I've been just soaking all this information in. So I'll start with the first question, which is kind of a personal but an impersonal question. And how would you describe how you understand the state of the world today and the state of humanity? Where are we at?
Oh, wow. The state of the world? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's crazy, and it's beautiful, and it's pain. I mean, people suffer. There's a lot of pain out there. In a global sense, there's a lot of people that don't get their basic needs met. When I look out at the world, what I see from my perspective is I see the program. I see the program playing out. And, it's interesting. It's entertaining. I'd like it to be different. My mind would like it to be different. But, and I really feel like it does feel like there's a lot of transition going on right now. Mm-hmm. A lot of upheaval. A lot of people seem like they're really waking up. The readings that I've been getting in the last couple years, I've never in my life had so many people show up and really want to find their community and their tribe. There's all this pain around the tribe. And I look at their design and I'm thinking, well, you're not even tribal. I'm wondering, sometimes it doesn't make sense. And I'm just wondering if it's the global shift. We're going out of these cycles are like 400 years. It's not like it's all at once, but we're going out of a very tribal shift into a really individual one. Meaning, tribal meaning I do this for you, you do this for me. It's a bargain. Right. And the individual frequency is very different. And I feel it. I feel it in myself, and I definitely witness it with other people.
Well, it's funny, like you say, it seems to be a paradoxical situation going on in the way that institutions seem to be crumbling around us. You can't depend on outer institutions to maintain security and order.
Yep, it's breaking down, Randall.
Yeah, yeah. So how does a manifester deal with that? Is that its world?
Well, I mean, my world is my world. I just follow my strategy and authority, and I live in a constant state of confusion, and I'm okay with that. I'm always confused. I don't know what I'm doing until I do it. You know, from a practical level, you show up, you have an appointment, like today. I knew I was going to show up here, right? But as much as possible, I just allow my will to move me, which is my authority. I've got an ego authority, and my mind usually, especially on bigger decisions, doesn't agree with that. And I've learned to trust it. It's taken a long time, but I've learned to trust it. So that's how I live. And things just reveal themselves to me. You know, people have a lot of misconceptions about manifestors. They think that because you're a manifester, I do readings from people, and they always get upset when they're not a manifester. Not always, but okay, a lot of the time. And it's not like, to be correct, that I can go out there and initiate what I think I want. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
So there was a real process of learning to trust my inner authority, which is trusting myself. And that's just, you know, and in the meantime, I'm just observing. I'm watching. I get up in the morning, like this morning, before I even open my eyes, it's like my mind was going a million miles a minute. And I'm like, wow, what's in the transits? I mean, it was just, and as I'm walking up the stairs, my mind is certain there's going to be dirty dishes in the sink, and I'm pissed off. And I get up there are no dirty dishes in the sink. You know, it's this constant thing that you're watching and you're observing, and you just have to get really good at just identifying that, just dropping the story and living your life and watching the movie.
So what's outside the story for you? I mean, the one thing that I really appreciate about human design that I think is that it really explains the geometry of all of us beings being on this plane and dealing with each other from this point. But what's the perspective that you get when you look at the story without being in the story? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
I think so. My perspective, most of the time, is that it's really just pure entertainment for me. It's the less I'm invested in it, if I'm really invested in it, in a kind of a mental way with what's going on, I mean, I've just got to drop the story and just observe what's happening. I mean, what I see, yeah, it's chaotic, it's beautiful, it's full of synchronicities, it's full of order, and sometimes I don't see it, and I'll see it later. Sometimes I never see it in certain situations. It is what it is, you know?
Do you have the potentiality, the possibility for a human being, regardless of their type? Do you have a sense of that? I mean, the movie may be entertaining, but do you also have a sense of a purpose for what that being is capable of, in terms of the limits of its possibility for awareness? Do you know what I mean? For instance, I speak with lots of different kinds of people. I speak to... Are you familiar with Carlos Castaneda?
Yeah. I love Carlos. Okay, That's what happened to me with human design. I got nogwalled. I got somebody hit me over the stick, and I was like, whoa.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you could say that in that world, their possibility, if their potentiality is to reach a level of attention that goes beyond the physical realm, life and death, even. And it's a conscious decision for them to get their awareness there, to educate their consciousness. Do you have a sense of that, or is it more a case that you're just, I shouldn't say just, is it more a case that you're dealing with the story?
I'm dealing with the story, but at the same time, the story's just an aspect. There's what I'm doing, what's revealing itself to me, who shows up to me, the people that I encounter. And yeah, there's all sorts of possibilities there. I don't know what's correct for other people. I don't know. I can look at their chart and see the mechanics and relate it back to them, sing the song back to them as best I can. and see what they do with it. But, they've got to step through the prison door that's open, right? They've got to walk through. But no, it's amazing. It's amazing what can happen when you drop the story and you just experiment with the mechanics.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. Because
okay, good.
Because that's why I like to talk. That's why I think I will enjoy talking to human design people, because I'm more interested in cutting right to what we're doing here, like whatever it is, even if it's confusion, but not the side stories, but getting to at least whatever everybody's story is from their perspective. And it seems to me that you can be ruthless in your talk, like Ra was. I listened to a lot of his speeches, his talks, and I really appreciated his ruthlessness. I mean, from his own ruthlessness. And let me ask you then, when you look at a person's chart, what's the first thing that would stick out for you? Is it their type?
Yeah, I mean, the type is definitely the first thing if I'm going to sing it back. But, I mean, it's always something different. Sometimes I'll look at a chart and there'll be a pure individual. It depends on the chart. Different things jump out at me when I look at it, different things. And, yeah, I agree. Ra could really be very cut and dry about that. And for me, that's, a lot of people, everybody's got their own take with this information. And really, the most important thing from my perspective, it's not, you don't have to become an analyst, and it's not how many classes you take or how many books you read. And a lot of people, it's really good for them to study, Mm-hmm. It's great to give your mind that and to really enjoy it. I love it. Mm-hmm. You and I both have Gate 62. I'm, right. Obscuration and details, But it's like, at the end of the day, for me personally, I'm just understanding that I can navigate in a way where my mind's not moving my body around to make a decision, or even just over-identifying, even if I'm not making a decision. If I'm over-identifying with the story, that's really painful too. That's where you get to see the most amazing stuff show up. Right. Stuff that has happened in my life that I'm like, how the heck did I get here,
Right. Do you find that a lot of people, like something like human design or astrology or anything that points to the self, is just another way indulging in self and being obsessed with self?
I don't know. Maybe, yeah. I mean, especially in the beginning, but everybody, you're going to get what you get out of it. Everybody's going to get, if you're going to get any kind of truth, it's going to be your truth. All I know is I came to it in what seems now is a very faded and, kind of serendipitous way, because I was in pain. I was in pain, and I wanted to get out of pain, and I had one of those experiences, the on the bathroom floor, like, this is it, I really need some help here, send me. And my life wasn't bad or anything, but I was suffering inside, and this showed up a week later, and it just grabbed me. It grabbed me, and I jumped into it and just, went on the journey.
So how did it show up for you?
Oh, well, I was a loan officer. I was living in Orange County. I had basically a 10-year career in real estate, which was crumbling at that time. And I was in a 10-year relationship, and nicest guy ever. We're still friends, but I mean, I could just feel that it wasn't right. Something in me was like, something's wrong. This, and it was right at that Uranus opposition when you reach that midpoint. And you kind of ask yourself, am I climbing the wrong ladder? And I could feel that something was really wrong with me because I wasn't living who I was. I was, it's taken every ounce of determination, which you and I both have in our design, to step into myself as a manifester. Because once that manifestors are really here to have fire. We're very yang, and once that's put out, it's really hard to get it back. For me, I mean, it's still hard. I still, every day, it's like, okay, you're not a generator, you're a manifestor. It's a constant reminder. But so I was in the situation, and about a week later, my girlfriend said to me, she was also a manifestor. oh my God, we were in Hawaii and we found this guy and he's our friend and we got this great thing, human design. She mentioned it to me like in maybe, she talked about it maybe 2 minutes and then she walked away. And something about it just hit me so hard. And so I went online to get a reading. And I really, really liked it. I can listen to the reading now from a certified analyst. It was great. She did an amazing job. But something still didn't make sense. So I never let it go. I listened to it. I still didn't get it. And then I got another reading. And the day after that, it was just over. You know how people say the veil lifts? Well, for me, the veil slammed. And it slammed hard and fast. It's like 1 minute I'm like, well, this is interesting. And the next minute it's like I could literally hear my mind screaming at me, not audibly, but I could see the thoughts, I could see the news, I could see all the ways that I've been giving my own authority away to other people because I was scared, I wanted to be safe, I wanted people to like me, I was responding, I wasn't myself, and I could see it all at once. I mean, it was really intense for me in the beginning. And not everybody has that experience, but for me, that's what it was like. And it was crazy, Randall. It was like Stephen King was in the corner going, yes! I mean, it was just one of those moments that you never forget. And then at that moment, I'm like, all right, I'm done. Game on. Game on, I can do this. This is my mind. I don't have to hate it. It's great. It has a job to do. But it's not here to make my decisions. So then I just kind of went from there. One thing led to another.
So how did you connect with your ego center?
Oh, that's one of the first questions I asked Rob. I never got to meet Rob, but I would, in the beginning of my process, because that was so intense, all of a sudden you have an awareness that you're not your mind. That's very destabilizing. What do you do with somebody when they get that, right? So of course, I'm clinging to the information, right? I'm like, oh, well, I'm supposed to inform. Well, the hell with that. But, I've got this ego authority. What is that? Well, okay, so you pick up, depending on what you read, well, it means that you really want it. It's something that, you really want. But want is you got to be careful with want, right? Because it can be want or is it want from the body, right? So the first thing I did, and I emailed Raw, and I'm like, dude, you got to help me. And I spelled it out for him like, I just blew up my whole life. And, so he was really generous with me. And he said, look, you've got to listen to what you say spontaneously. Don't go to your head and figure out what you're going to say. Just open your mouth and talk. And you're going to start to hear your truth. Okay? So that's what I did. And you're going to love this. In the beginning, it almost feels like what I would imagine channeling to be like. In the beginning, when I just, would just try to be really present and in my body and just speak, I wouldn't be able to decipher what I said. I would hear words coming out. It was almost like a force, but I would have to ask the person next to me, what did I just say? I couldn't even hear it. Wow. And Ra thought it was so funny. He laughed and he said, that's so cute. Your mind will get over its jealousy eventually. But the way that I hear it is just kind of like sinking into my body. And as I'm talking, like if I want to talking something else really helpful for me with this ego authority. And if I say something and it sounds like this, it's got a punch, right? You can feel it. I'm an ego manifester, But if it kind of sounds like this, and then I can go, wow, that's not really true for me. It's a frequency thing for me. And it's also, it's do I have the will to do something? Like I'll get up and my mind will be so sure that I need to do the laundry. We got to do laundry today. That's what the thoughts will be. And I'm observing them. It takes a vigilance, but it's just something that happens. And I look at the laundry bin. It's not even half full. And in the past, that constant mental badgering would have gotten me to go and do the laundry when I didn't have energy to do it. I don't do it now. I do it when I do it, and then one day I'll just get up and do it. So it's a body movement too. What do I have the will to do? And it's not the mind will, it's the will that comes from from my body.
Well, that's kind of interesting because I have a bit of a thing that I have is with the Carlos Castaneda books. They have something called stalking, where you recognize the parts of yourself that are perhaps you could say it's conditioning, and to stalk it, well, you must understand that you put it into a position of awkwardness. For instance, if I have an open throat, I do have that desire sometimes, or that imperative to just speak out, even though I hate speaking out. I hate getting attention on myself. That's how I feel about it. But I do bring attention to myself. But for me, I do it consciously as stalking for myself. Is it just a matter of the imperatives that we have through our open and defined centers? Does it just the action of it? Is it only matter what the motivation is behind it? Am I being clear about what I'm asking here? In other words, our active part of us is our open centers. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're consistently turned on, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
So for a person with an open throat or an open anything, you're going to feel a lot of activity in that area. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Amplification. Right.
So how you deal with that is the strategy. Is that correct? That's one of the strategies?
Mm-hmm. The strategy. Mm-hmm.
So is that strategy a one size fits all, or is it dependent on the level of your consciousness, or on the strategy of your consciousness? This is too obscure.
Well, I'm on the cross of obscuration, so it must be correct in some way. All I know is, each of the types have their strategies. The way that I can deal with it from my perspective is the amplification. Okay, so it comes in the way that I experience it. Like, okay, so you have an open throat. For me, I have an open, so we both have open spleens. I'm looking at your chart here. Yeah. And, holding on to things that aren't good for us, that's the not self frequency, or, feeling unsafe or insecure, or, fear of responsibility ends up being taking on too much responsibility, things that really aren't even correct for us because we've done it mentally, because we're afraid we can't survive if we don't take on that responsibility. All of this stuff, the way it gets amplified, the way that, and it gets easier over time, Randall. The more that you do it, it does get easier. I'm not going to Pollyanna out on you and tell you it's easy in the beginning, because it really isn't. Simple, but not easy, Ross said. So the way that I deal with it is I do my best to be present. You know what I mean when I say be present? I mean, Eckhart Tolle calls it watch your consciousness. In human design, we call it passenger consciousness. Just watch, observe. And so I'm doing that. I'm also, you can feel sensations in your body. And then it just comes down to my strategy and authority. Do I have the will to engage with this right now? Is my body moving? Doesn't matter what my mind's saying, because the open centers, what they'll do, the way they can trip you up is the mental dialogue is what's going to show up. The openness can spur you to move. So I just observe it. That's the easiest way for me to deal with it, is just to say, wow, I'm having this experience right now. Maybe it's pleasant. Maybe it's really unpleasant. Can I just be present with this the way that it is? And if something's moving me, then I'll move, or I'll speak, hopefully.
So I guess that kind of clarified something for me. So it's not so much that open center is a place that you need to put your consciousness in and fill it out from the inside of that. You actually kind of almost approach it from another center of your consciousness.
It's tricky, Randall. It's tricky because, it's a juxtaposition. It's a binary. And it's one of the things I love about human design. You can use any of the keynotes in human design, and you can put the words or not after it. Right. It's netty, not this, it's not that. That's the mind measures. And so what's happening here is you've got the personality and you've got the design. And then you've got the magnetic monopole, which sits right here, we're told, and holds us together in the illusion, right? holds us together in the illusion of our separateness. We're not separate from our body and our mind are not separate, but they sure seem like it. You know, geez, my body and my body will do something and my mind's like, that's career suicide. What are you doing? But I'm like, dude, I'm doing it. And my mind's like, what? No, and it's so funny when you really look at it and you look at the calculation, they don't even come in at the same time. The body gets built and then the personality drops in and it doesn't even sit anywhere. It sits up here, you know? So it's like, it feels like it's one or the other, but we're really operating as a whole. It's everything. You know, we get informed in a sense from our openness. What's coming in, the conditioning, right? And then if we're present within ourselves, whatever your authority is, you're here to respond, go through your emotional wave, right? Then it all comes together correctly. I don't know how it works, but it just does.
I'm having one of those moments right now.
Okay, take your time. I love it.
So, I noticed that I'll go sideways here just because I was on a track and I can say I hold the thread. I hear something you're saying and there's a point there where I want to hold on to that point to go in that direction. And then of course you speak further and you go off and my mind's kind of following you, but it's kind of trying to hold on to that point so I can go back to it. And then I get lost in some sort of non-entity state.
Awesome.
So I noticed that your design sun is my personality, same thing. So does that mean by saying degrees? So does that mean that you were 88 degrees after me? You're when you were born?
Oh man, I'm not sure. Well, we're in different quarters. See, because my personality sun, that's your personality. See, my 3 and 50 and line 2 are on the design side. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure about the calculations and stuff. I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
We're born in different quarters. I'm in the second quarter of civilization. You're in the first quarter.
You were saying, yeah, you were saying and you were saying also in your email that you've been meeting a lot of cross of laws people or something like that.
Yeah.
So what does that imply for you?
It's just this thing when you start to kind of. Here's my take on it. You're going to meet the correct people for you to meet. They just show up on your fractal. You don't have to do anything. They just show up. And at certain times in my life, I'll get a bunch of like certain profiles or crosses all at once. And right now I'm getting a lot of cross of laws. And I'm just, being present to that and engaging with it.
Does it represent a state that you're in generally? Or is it just something you observe and think it's curious?
Oh, I think it's curious and exciting, and it feels kind of fated and serendipitous and interesting, and I love all of it, It's really interesting to watch. So I'm 52 years old, so I'm still integrating into my Chiron.
Right.
So, I'm really feeling the rug being pulled out from under me, but now, thank God, or the forces or whoever, at least I feel like the passenger's a lot more liberated. Not as much as I'd like it to be, but it's a lot more liberated. So it's more comfortable and exciting. It feels really good because it's like I feel like in a year or 2 or maybe 3, I'm going to be in a completely different situation. That's what it feels like. I can kind of sense it. So.
And you won't have people living above you anymore.
Yeah. Plus, I'd really like my own kitchen, Randall. I don't mind sharing it. It's funny, I share a bathroom with a reflector. He's so adorable. And but the kitchen situation really gets to me because I like to nest and stuff. So, but yeah, I can't remember what the original question was. See,
the original question was actually just the 3.2. I noticed that I wasn't sure how all this works. I understand astrology fairly well, but I wasn't sure how the whole design side compared to the personality side, the numbers, if you were a 3.2.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Different quarters.
Because the reason why I was asking that is because I was reading something that a 2 is part of their design says that they're here to meet their karmic connections. And I wasn't sure if that signified that that's somewhat of a karmic connection that we shared the 3.2. Do you know what I mean? That there was,
right.
another.
Well, no, there's nothing arbitrary. As far as I'm concerned.
Right, yeah.
I'm sorry. They're just, you can't convince me you can look the wrong way and not see what you're here to see.
Right.
But I feel it's like the more I watch my own process, it's like I kind of see it like this, and this is just my perspective. So, we have this magnetic monopole, right? Supposedly that's one of the big things with human design, magnetic monopoles, the neutrinos, and it's pulling us along in our trajectory. Like it's a magnet, right? And there are 12 profiles. You come in as a 2-5. I come in as a 6-2. Well, I don't get to be a 1-4, and neither do you, whether we want to or not. So as we're being pulled along in our trajectory, we come in at point A, we die at point B, and here we go. We're gonna go through this line, and it's like as I'm going, it kind of seems like this. It's like there's a magnet, and I'm kind of going like this, and I'm just going through my life, going through the trajectory, and then my mind gets involved, and some transit comes in, and I get distracted, squirrel, and I'm off this way, and I'm going way off the magnet, but that magnet's gonna slam you back eventually. It just does, and that's where you get resistance. Because we're objects flying through space, we're hitting things, we're not engaging with the wrong things. Whoa, man, I didn't mean to have all those kids. You don't see the right things, but you learn from it. It is what it is, right? And then as you learn how to just kind of not get so invested in the passing energies and you just observe them, you start to see what you're here to see. And that's when you start to see, for me, especially when I get the birth data, it's crazy. I see like I've got 2s and 4s in my nodal environment. And I mean, I've never had so many 2-4s in my life. It's in 2s, like, you're a 2-5. It's just, you start to see things show up. And when you're looking in the right way, you see what you can see, then you can share your perspective as an outer authority and use that mind, when you talk to other people.
So does
that make sense?
It does, yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And the magnetic monopole that you're mentioning, so I guess that's the alignment that you would feel, I'll use the word feel, when you're living your design correctly. Is that right? So it's not got anything to do with type or profile or anything of that kind of stuff. It's just the alignment that the being will feel or understand or work with when they're living correctly. Is that what that is?
The magnetic monopole it's a mechanic. It just is, okay? But really, I mean, and I can verify this for myself, the feeling, what I feel when I'm more in alignment than not, is I feel the frequency of peace, which is the signature for a manifester, and it's an all-encompassing peace. It's very deep, and I also feel relaxed, more relaxed in my body. And it doesn't mean that, I'm happy all the time or anything like that. But you've got the 360 format. You know what it's like to be in melancholy.
I did in my youth. I don't anymore. I've overcome that dynamic.
Yeah.
I understand what that is. Yeah. My first 30 years were that. 35.
Yeah.
And I from day one, my earliest memories are examining myself consciously. I mean, that's my first memory is like, what's going on here? Why, what's going on, right? Right. So I've been working. That's why I understood this when I saw when I read about human design. I mean, I understood a lot of it without knowing what was going on. That there was a system to explain it. I've always slept alone. I've always a lot of the things that they talk about, I understand innately, just because I've discovered it on my own. But one thing it did show me was I always appreciate diversity. I love diversity. I love hearing people's stories. I just love it. I'm very interested in everybody. But I did find that I do have a judgment. I used to always explain to people who couldn't find their center to say, look for that buzz and trust that. Don't trust the mind, trust the buzz. And then I read, well, that's a generator thing. A projector person will not have a buzz. But I judged the projector in my life as being unconscious and self-absorbed and lazy because it wasn't like me, right?
Right.
Because I thought it was a one-size-fits-all. So one thing this really has broadened me, and it's blown it's given me another burst of expansion. Because I look for those expansive things, and this is one of those expansive things for me. and it's opened up, at least in my dealings with beings. It's opened up. It's expanded my acceptance and wonder.
Tolerance.
Yes, tolerance and wonder.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I just sit and I'll stare at my chart. I'll stare at it and I'll think, how do we even have this information right? I mean, I still do that. It's my life is a constant state of don't give in to the astonishment. And I'm not even doing drugs. It's always like that. And it's the simplest, most mundane life. But it is like Ross said, the mundane becomes magical. And that's one of the biggest gifts that I've experienced too, is the tolerance. It's like for me as an ego being, I'm like, why didn't you do this? You said you were going to do it. I'll do it, but I've got that will. And other people don't have that. You don't need to put that off on them. It's like, you're going to do better if I ask you a question. Right? Yeah. So you can respond from a true place.
Well, what about the situation where I'm going around contacting all these people? I'm the one doing the initiating. I'm the one that's trying to probe people. Would you say that that's an ungenerator type of thing? I mean, it seems like it's a very sophisticated process or understanding human design. Because yes, it says I should respond, but also I'm a 2-5, which from what I understand, I just know the basics. It's a self-motivating,
correct,
harmonic dynamic. So I'm self-motivating, and yet I have to respond. I'd be responsive. And I know responsive doesn't just mean the literal way that you have to say something to me so I can say something back. There's all sorts of subtleties to that. I'm still trying to learn what those subtleties are in how you understand that.
Hell if I know. Well, all I know is this. You're responding to something outside yourself. And I'm not a generator, so I have an open sacral. To me, you're amazing. You have this ability to regenerate your energy. God, it's incredible. But how did you get into this? Can I ask you that? Did you did you have a response to start doing this?
This being which?
Like contacting people and interviewing them about expansive subjects, things like that.
Yes. For me, it's stalking myself.
Okay.
It's stalking. So
great term.
The one thing is that I'm very shy. I don't like to be bothered. Right? So I push myself out there. So that's for me is stalking myself. I'm challenging myself, my weaknesses. When I perceive my weaknesses. And also, I love to connect. I love to have a meeting of something. I mean, we can't meet with our auras, but we can meet with our minds, evidently. Right? And I also feel that underneath it all, that there's a connection being made that's part of the movement of the whole. So I feel like I'm trying to connect all these dots. I'm trying to connect you to my dot, to this dot, to that dot. I feel like I'm a dot connector. You know what I mean? I'm part of a dot connection, I should say. I'm not the connector. I'm just part of the conscious movement to connect dots. Conscious dots. So my purpose for that is manyfold. To me, it encompasses all that I am interested and direct myself towards. It's just another aspect of consciousness, which is everything I'm here to do, from my point of view.
I think that, you do the best. I mean, response is going to be something outside of yourself. You respond to it. You're really going to want to, especially with anything bigger, go through that emotional process. And it's not conscious for you. You don't have, none of your circuitry is fully conscious. So it's almost like it feels like it's just kind of, it shows up as more of a surprise. It's, more like a tunnel versus a road. And when it's correct for you and are you getting a frequency of, here's some signposts. Do you feel frustrated or satisfied? Do you feel satisfied with your work? Do you feel degenerated or do you feel regenerated? You know what I mean? Are you willing your way through? You can look at the open centers too. You just kind of go back and forth. Experiment with it. Just keep experimenting with it within yourself to see what it means for you. But, the signposts that we have, the keynotes are really accurate. Does it feel satisfying? Does it feel like a real response? Are you in touch at all with your, sacral sounds? Or is it more verbal for you?
I've always been that guy that goes, or aha.
Okay,
I've always been like, that's another kind of thing I just kind of naturally have. Or if I'm, well, I don't want to get, if I'm doing something that's bodily, I like making noises. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I like the feeling from there.
Okay,
The rumbling from there. You know, I like it.
That's the whole game. And just to understand, you and I both have these defined minds. We've got defined head and ajna with the channel of logic. Mm-hmm. So we have inspirational minds, supposedly, for the other. Right now, we're sharing an outer authority. It's great. I love these conversations. It's like, this feeds me too. I really know. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. But if I have the will to do it, I'm going to show up and do it and see what happens. Right. And I can hear, just based on what comes out of my mouth, what's true for me. So I think you're already doing all this self-autolysis in a sense. You're already doing all this, this work to where you're challenging yourself and you're in your own process. You have to trust your own process and keep walking, because we have, in human design can be really, the language can be really off-putting to a lot of people, but the whole point is to experiment with it yourself. And observe it. That's the whole point. And believe me, the keynotes that Ra laid out for us are very deliberate. Right. It's not just, respond, wait to respond, inform. It's not, all this stuff. They carry the keynotes of the channels, everything. They carry a specific frequency that's designed to hit us cellularly. In the body.
Yeah, you could. It sounds like it came from like I say, I'm just new at this, but it sounds like it came from a manifestor because it does have impact. He looks for the way to kind of get you like this. Like when I first saw frustration as being a representative, well, that's pretty negative. You know what I'm saying? But
right. Yeah.
But now I get it. He's trying to wake you up by hitting you in that spot with impact, not just gently, which I appreciate. I like that. And then, of course. Yeah. Then I see what's with the contrast to that. Obviously, there's a contrast to that, right?
Yeah, many different ways, and there are many different ways to get the information, and also Ra was a 5/1. He got to see things from his description, things that we'll never see from his perspective, and he delivered it in a really practical way, and it just seems like he could really see that how dense the not self is, and he wanted to hit people in that way, and it really worked for me. So I love listening to those recordings and those classes. I do agree.
So one of the things that you mentioned earlier is that you saw that the transits going on right now are very mental and and it kind of concerned you a bit.
I've had some problems with cross consciousness in the past.
So what does that mean? Like,
what does what mean?
What is
the cross consciousness? Okay, so what it means, like if I'm looking, hold on. If I look and see the Sun, Earth, if I look at the transits. Where are we here? I have 3 screens going right now, Randall. I'm crazy. Okay. Okay, the 63 and the 64 are the Sun Earth, and they're in the head center. It's a pressure center, mental pressure to resolve the doubt and confusion. And then the channel of judgment is the only defined life force channel in the transits right now. So if you put the judgment and getting really mental about the judgment, if you're dealing with people that they just want what they want and they've got a mental agenda, that can be difficult for me.
Right.
As a manifestor, I just get pissed off. I don't even want to go there. I tell people, look, I don't trust my own mind. Do you think I'm going to trust what you say? It's like, you're not going to convince me of this. It ain't going to work. Leave, So that's the only thing that I meant. That's just me.
Well, I hope
nothing wrong. It's a great transit. It's a great cross. These are great questions. People that have this cross, if they can learn to love their questions, it's wonderful. It's just an aspect.
Yeah. So how does it relate to, I noticed that in your chart, both your design and your personality, Saturn, in astrology, Saturn is a big planet. And it's a big planet in my astrological chart. Are you familiar with astrology at all?
I don't have an astrology background. Just a tiny little bit. I'm familiar.
So I'm just curious, then we'll forget about the astrology aspect of it, but I'm just curious, what if Saturn is the same degree in both your personality and your design, what does that imply for you? Because it's not
okay, I mean, in human design, and so I've got gate 63, and I've got it in my Saturn activations, right? In both the design and the personality.
Right.
In human design, and I believe it's kind of similar in astrology, Saturn is the judge. Saturn is like where if you're not being correct, whatever that means for you, okay, you're going to get into trouble. What it means for me is I've got a defined head and ajna, and if I didn't have gate 63, I wouldn't have that. So what it shows up as, if I read the gates and lines, and it's in line 6 and line 3 in detriment, it shows up as nostalgia, and it shows up as continuance. Success at any price, the pressure to eliminate the doubt at any cost. The way that I've observed this in my life is I will get obsessive about removing the doubts. And I'll get nostalgic about the past, and I'll start to make decisions and be completely over-identified, and it'll just be like a hamster wheel. I know that this is not the right way for me to navigate. So it's beautiful. So if that's leaving me alone, cool. I can just, the doubts will be resolved when they're resolved. It's logical. I can share my doubts with other people. There's an answer there, there's not. But for me, the way I've noticed it, it would be, the not self frequency, the shadow, whatever you want to call it. Here in human design, we call it the not self. So yeah, that's in it. And I've witnessed it in my life, really just getting obsessive about those mental doubts and having to do everything. So can you imagine if you apply that to me as a manifester, going out and making impacts because I've got a doubt that I feel like I have to resolve, and I got to do it fast because I have an open route, and I'm going to pressure you with my defined ego, and I mean all the other stuff. What a nightmare.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In astrology, Saturn also is the sign of mastery, because the reason why it's like it's like a black hole in that aspect of your personality, where you're completely vulnerable, and because you're completely vulnerable, and it creates friction for you, it makes you focus your attention there to survive it.
Right. How beautiful.
Right.
So it ends up being fantastic, and I learned from and you get this transmutation of something else. Yeah, I mastered it. Now see, I can get all cocky about it now, but it'll come up later and kick me in the butt. Yeah. It's all, it's this juxtaposition of, negative, negative, positive, positive. And just after a while, you just see it and it's like, wow, this is amazing. Right. When you can get past all this judgment of it and navigate correctly, you can get what's right for you.
So do you see that there is a purpose for the friction that people feel in their lives, for the conflict?
We don't get mutation without friction, without heat. And you're a mutative being yourself. You're an agent of change in a sense with, that format of the 360 mutation that you have. There's the possibility of that change coming. You want to mutate. You want something inside of you, you're embodying that you want to bring something new. Doesn't mean it's going to take hold, but it could,
So I don't want to talk about my chart particularly, but I just wanted to ask about, like, for instance, the 360. That's my design sun and my personality sun that create that channel. What does that mean if it's one planet, the same planet that creates a channel?
It's the light of who you are. It's huge. It's a big part of you. Mutation is like the sun, you're shining, right? Your beingness, what you shine out to other people. And because it's the same thing, and it's, the sun Earths make up approximately 70% of who we are. It's huge. So because it's the sun, dude, you're all about mutation. Whether you know it or not, it's there. It wants to come out. And, it operates in the pulse. It can feel really stuck, like a plateau, like instead of 1, 2, 3, it can feel like, and in my body, it feels stuck, like 1, 1, One, oh, I got to get out of this. I'm getting so depressed. I got to initiate something so I can find my way and people will listen to me and be an authority. And, and people get into trouble because they don't wait. And instead of understanding, it's just a chemistry, right? And you just wait until one day the pulse jumps and it moves on. And then it starts up again later. Giving it a mental reason is what gets us in trouble. But for you, you're an agent of mutation. It's in you whether you want to do it or not. It's just there. It's a really big part of who you are.
So what is the contrast then between the design and the personality? Is the personality what you call the passenger?
Yeah.
Okay, and so the not self is the influences that you get through your open centers, the shadow side, I guess some people call it.
Mm-hmm.
So is a person who's living correctly living their design or living their personality?
It's a combination of both. It's a combination of both. You can't really, the illusion of separateness, right? The magnetic monopole. Mm-hmm. It's both.
So is both mean? Like I'm always interested in the actual doing of it. Does both mean that the personality must acquiesce, and by acquiesce, and maybe that's purely a generator thing, to the design. By acquiesce, it doesn't mean it gives up its individuality.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, acquiesce.
Okay.
I'm all about that. Yeah. So acquiesce. It's so hard for me to explain, Randall. I'll do the best that I can. If you look at my chart, so I know you've seen my chart.
Yep, I've got it here.
Okay, so consciously in black, who you think you are, right? And it is a part of you, mm-hmm. right?
Yep.
But it's not the only part. The body's there too. Here's the thing to remember. This is what can help. The design crystal, which is the red, the body part, okay? The design crystal resonates to the magnetic monopole. Mm-hmm. All right? And the magnetic monopole's pulling us on our purpose. We've got to liberate the passenger. We've got to, Mr. So you got to liberate the passenger so you can go with your body and see what happens. And then your passenger jumps in and does what it does and can share and everything else. So it's not about demonizing the mind. Right. That doesn't work. It worked in the beginning for me. I needed that. Warrior's Path, I love that. And I remember hearing Ross say that he didn't have any problem with the Warrior's Path. I really needed that because my head and Ashna, that's the only conscious circuitry I have. It's a little bit red in there, unconscious, but it's also fully defined in black if you looked at it.
Yeah.
So what part of my split definition do you think I want to live in? So when I found out that I was not my mind, that's why it was such a slam to me. Because I saw it so, I was like, oh my God. And then you start listening to what it says to you, and it's like, really? I've been letting this thing make my decisions my whole life. Right. So it's everything. It's just, it'll all come together. But the body, the design crystal, and the magnetic monopole, they resonate. So yeah, acquiesce is a good word. Okay. Liberate the passenger to be a passenger. It's not a driver. It's a passenger.
You explained that awesomely, by the way.
Okay, good.
I get it now.
I mastered it. Okay, cool. In this moment, we have success. Okay.
Let me just look over my notes a bit here, okay?
Take your time. Okay. Take your time. I'll just sit here and drink my tea. Okay. Oh, wow, I'm really enjoying your artwork.
There's another fellow that I've interviewed. I don't know how familiar you are with Carlos Castaneda, as we mentioned, or Don Juan. This guy is a masterful dreamer. He's like Don Juan 2.0. There are so many people that I'm discovering these days, or finding, that are like raw. They're getting information from the inorganic world, or from the cosmos, and they're channeling it here. There's a lot of information coming into this world right now. And he's one of the major ones for me.
Thank you for sharing that. I really like the one on the left. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's such a great, I love, see what I mean? Even though we're, it's like you can say, well, I don't have any energy. It's like, of course you have energy. We all have our own life force, but it just expresses in so many different ways. It's beautiful to see it.
Right. How does your energy express?
It's always different for me. A lot of times it takes naps. Mm. I like to walk. I walk a lot, all over the beach and different parts around my little town. And I like to play guitar. I like to knit, just to knit. I don't knit cool stuff. I just knit to knit, basically squares. Um, I don't know. I like to occasionally connect with people, um, depending on my mood. I mean, my human design work is what animates me. And I just like, I'll get up and I'll be like, I can be really, my mind is really grumpy a lot. It's kind of like the old guy in the cartoons or the movies. It's like, oh, that's mean old Mr. Johnson up on the hill. I dare you to go touch the doorknob. He's going to get you and barbecue. You know what I mean? That's kind of like what a manifestor's like. And, you kids, get off my lawn, But when you get to know Mr. Johnson, he's kind of gruff, but he's really a tender-hearted guy.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of how I am. So depending on my mood, I can be horrid. But when I'm in the mood to be social, I mean, manifestors can be marshmallows and stuff, really sensitive, and I enjoy the connections that I have with people in my classes and the work that I do. And right now, that's really the way I'm expressing. I like to sing in the shower. I like to use my voice. I like to dance around my room. I like to cook. I like to hang out with my kids. Just whatever shows up. Nothing profound.
Well, that's all profound, isn't it?
Yes, thank you.
Will you feel drained after a conversation like this, or will you feel invigorated, or nothing?
In this moment, I feel good. No, I don't feel drained. Mm-mm. If I hang out in aura, say like I've got a girlfriend that's a manifesting generator. She's got a lot of energy, and I love her to death. But, I've noticed after several years of being around her, 2 hours is my absolute limit. If I stay past that, I'm going to be exhausted. So, I mean, one of the things about being a manifestor is we really have to maintain the integrity of our aura. And even as I say that, it's hard to explain, but it's meant to be closed,
Right.
And it doesn't mean that I can't connect and have a relationship or anything. It doesn't mean anything like that.
Right.
It just means that for me, especially as a 6-2, I really need my alone time.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're just coming out of your second cycle of alone time, aren't you? Isn't that what the second aspect of the 6 is?
Well, it's a tripart. I'm in my tripart now.
Yeah.
So the first is like the Saturn, and you go through this. So like instead of being a 6-2, you're like a 3-2, and you're bumping into. Oh my God! And then you go up on the roof, and it's like, for me, it was like this exhale, and I looked back at my life, and it's like, what the hell was that? That was intense, all the stuff I went through in my third line phase. And then you get this protective quality on the roof, and it feels really good. And you can still work, and you can still be a role model and do what you're doing, but you're hopefully can take the whatever pessimism you encountered in the first phase and turn it into some optimism. Right. So you can really just get that bird's eye view of the sixth line is it's part of the hexagram, but it's not really part of the hexagram. And it's got this bird's eye view. I have a reoccurring dream that I'm a bird all the time, flying and seeing everything from a perspective like that. And then right around, we get our Chiron, then you come off the roof and the protective quality leaves. You get drug off the roof whether you like it or not, and that's really when you're here to flower in your Chiron and live out whatever you're here to live out, hopefully.
And I guess to reconcile the hermit aspect is the challenge of your unique profile.
Yes, and I'm watching it now. I'm watching it operate. My Chiron profile is a 4-6, okay? And, 4 is definitely more interactive, right? And I'm watching myself draw people in. I'm watching myself initiate with people and draw them into my life a little bit more. And my mind's going, what the hell are you doing? But I'm watching it happen, and it's just happening. And now I can just go, okay, it's all right. Let's just see what happens. No need to panic, So yeah, I'm watching it. It something is really shifting right now, and it feels really good. When I first started emailing with Ra, I was like 42, And he said something like, "Oh, good, you've got just enough time to prepare for your Chiron," because I'm a sixth line, right? And I was like, "Oh, shoot!" And do you know that like 1 7-year cycle for me, my Chiron date from the time I started and finished was 7 years and 2 weeks. I needed every last minute of that time.
Wow.
I really did, And now I just feel so grateful because I feel like I never have to figure anything out ever again.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a big load off, eh?
Oh, it is. I'm confused. I'm okay with it. It's not going to be a problem. If there's a decision that has to be made, might not be easy, but I know that there's a place within me that I can trust to do it. And I mean, it took a long time to get there, and it's still, I still have bad days and everything like that. I feel like I would need a few more lifetimes before I get really good at it. You know what I mean? But I feel a lot more comfortable in my skin now. So I'm excited to see what's going to unfold.
I can go on for a long time. I'm sure that you won't be shy about saying that you've had enough.
Right.
But so if I just keep going and you're feeling like the energy is waning, just say so and I'm cool.
Okay.
Obviously.
I can feel it a little bit now. I can feel it waning a little bit.
I can sense that a bit with you. But I wanted to ask you something. You mentioned manifesting generators. And I grew up in a family with two projectors and two manifesting generators. Manifesting generators are not like me. I get a closeness from them all the time. To me, they're distinctly different than generator, but they don't seem to be in human design literature. Like as distinctive as it feels like from my perspective of living around them.
Mm-hmm.
I sense that closed anger. You know what I mean? Like I know.
Yeah, they can go. Yeah.
Like maybe someone who's living correctly. I guess I would get that openness, but my buzz always comes up against a wall. Am I not clear about what I'm sensing? Or are they clearly a distinct thing from a pure generator?
Oh yeah, they're distinct. The aura is the same. Therefore, the strategy is the same.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Open and enveloping, pulling life to you like a magnet so you can respond. All right? Depending on what your authority is, you've got an emotional authority. You get a manifesting generator with an emotional authority. Well, right away, it's like you look at their chart and you're like, oh man, what am I going to say to them to get them to slow down and get in touch with that response and go through that emotional process to get to the point of little or no nervousness in the body, right? Rather than, having an open spleen and jumping in spontaneously. So they can be really, really fast. And they all, I shouldn't say all, but the energy can feel very manifestorish. But it's great. I mean, if they've got a sense of their response, right? And if they're emotionally defined, if they're taking their time, what they can do is they can move into action quickly. And they can be efficient and skip steps. A generator, pure sacral generator, has a more step-by-step process. Ra likened it to the story of the tortoise and the hare. It's kind of like that. They're just different, but the energy can feel like you're being run over by a bowling ball. But you know what? If I'm around people and I mean, you got to be careful when we're saying you're correct. It's like, I don't know who's correct.
Right,
Jesus, like I don't even know how my blender works. It's and not only that, we have so many neutrinos penetrating us and all the time, and the level of transference that our mind can do. Like I said, I mean, I'm doing the best that I can. But for me, when I get around somebody, say for instance, that's a manifesting generator, that's really been into their process for a while. And, there's all sorts of ways to reach awareness. Human design isn't the only. There's all sorts of people that have done amazing things with their work on themselves and what they've seen with their own awareness, It doesn't feel like that to me. But otherwise it does. It's the same thing with like an emotional being. If I'm around an emotional being, they're emotionally defined because I'm open. I have an open solar plexus. Even if they're upset and they're going through something that's difficult for them, as long as they're really feeling it and they're not repressing it and they're just observing it, even if they're crying, right, it doesn't feel bad to me.
Right.
They are very different. You're right. Yeah. it's probably feel like, getting run over by a bowling ball sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
And they not only, it's so funny, I've always wondered this, the manifesting generator gets the not self of frustration and anger. Right? But they don't get peace. They only get frustration. I'm like, well, how they don't get the other thing? I guess it's just the aura. Very different.
Well, maybe leave it on a good note where you're not feeling pissed off at me
for
doing.
Yeah, that feels really good. Does it feel good for you?
It does.
Is this a good time to stop?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Awesome. It was awesome to connect with you, and
really nice to connect.
Great. I'm always terrible at goodbyes. I never know how to do it, so.
I don't either. I'm so bad at it. I'm just really bad. That's why I'll stay too long. I'm going to say goodbye.
Okay.
And I'm going to sign off. I'll be the manifester. And
awesome.
Good luck.
Good luck to you. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.